Hi, everybody, whoever is watching out there on the internet. I'm Danny Ghitis, and this is Gorka Bartolome, and we are talking today about a 2-week intensive coaching training that is being offered starting next Monday, the 18th, as well as in July and in September. It is a ICF-approved coaching training intensive program, which is a condensed version of the University of Leyda's master's program in coaching. And we're doing this now for 60% off the normal price. It's a very unique moment in history, and we are offering a very unique opportunity for those who are spread a little thin and want to spend their time wisely in a 2-week intensive training program where you walk away with an actual coaching certification and the ability to become certified by the ICF, the International Coach Federation, as an associate certified coach. So it's the real deal. And Gorka is a professor, a student of the neuroscience of coaching, which is how he's getting his PhD currently. And we're going to talk a little bit about why right now, it's the best time to become a certified coach, why it's so important right now, why we need that so much. So, hi, Gorka.
Hi, Danny. You are such a wonderful host. It's amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm thinking of being the next Ellen, maybe.
Oh, well, could be.
So, can you tell us a little bit about your background, just a brief summary of you and all of the wonderful things that you do?
Sure. So yeah, currently now I have the Master Certified Coach credential by the ICF like 5 years ago, and I've been coaching for around 15 years. And previously I came from the pedagogic world, so I was a teacher specializing in music, and I was also managing a team in school, in a music school. So by some circumstances, I made this wonderful discipline who is coaching. 15 years ago, I decided that I wanted to become a coach, and from that time, I decided to leave my previous job. I decided to throw away all my career as a musician, but actually, no, I didn't throw it away, because now I'm using many things that I learned as a musician and as a teacher to use them as a coach. Okay? And yeah, and also currently, as you said, I'm also pursuing my PhD in neuroscience, trying to find some scientific evidence that coaching is a way to improve our creativity, the way we think, and our brain mechanisms in creativity. So there we are. And we are also ready, as you said, to begin next week with this wonderful training. So it's 2 weeks and it's an intensive, and people will be able to get enough hours and all the knowledge, the content to get to the ACD level by the ICF.
That's good. Gorka, I don't know if it's my connection or yours, but it's breaking up just a little bit.
Okay, so I don't want to touch anything. So is it better now?
Let's give it a shot.
Okay.
So in your opinion, why don't we just get right to this question, which is why is it a good time to become a certified coach?
Well, I think that almost everybody is aware that we are in a quite funny moment. Okay, so I think it's a historical moment, and everybody is facing a big change, and it's a difficult change. Okay, so we came from a place where we were kind of comfortable. We knew how to handle things. We knew how to live in a proper way, and suddenly everything is blown away, and we don't know anything about anything. So it's like we will have to start over our lives in some sense. Okay, we will need to learn how to get used to this way of living with this COVID-19. Many people will have to face different ways to work. Maybe they will have to telecommute. they are already telecommuted, but they will have to continue doing it. Many companies, they will have to reinvent themselves and find new ways to survive. And so here the question is that, okay, so we need abilities to be able to face this uncertainty. Okay, we don't know anymore how to react. We don't know anymore what's going to happen. And even scientists, even scholars are lost about, the future. So the thing is that we only have one exit out of this situation, and is to be able to be as creative as possible to find solutions by ourselves. I think that the guru era is gone, is finished. So because counseling and telling people what to do and how to live is not useful anymore, because we are all in the same situation of unknown and uncertainty. So we have to begin to work by ourselves, to be able to learn by ourselves, to take conclusions by ourselves. And the only way to do that is to train our brains to get back this creativity, this ability, this gift that we have as human beings to be able to find solutions and great solutions by ourselves.
How would you describe the situation that we're in right now as different from past times?
Yeah, I think actually is the epitome of VUCA. So this VUCA, this concept that many of
VUCA.
the people who are listening, I mean, they may be they may know this concept. It's VUCA. It's an environment. We usually use this concept for sociology and for also the business environment. When
VUCA is an acronym, right?
Yeah, it's an acronym that stands for volatility, for uncertainty, for also something is continuously in change, and also that it's completely changing all the time. So this is a concept that we were talking previously, and in all my lectures, I was telling my students, okay, so we are a little bit in this VUCA environment, life is fast, is continuously changing. We have a lot of information, and it's difficult to deal with so much information. So we had the sense we were in VUCA. I think the real VUCA is not. So the situation that we are living right now, I think that couldn't be more uncertain, more complex, and more ambiguous. So yeah, VUCA, the real VUCA is here. Real VUCA is here.
VUCA, so volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. Can you see my shared screen right now?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, great. Yeah, we just have a few slides that could help illustrate some of these ideas, and I can go back and forth. So another question for you. We've changed a lot as humans over the years. We've encountered new situations. There's always something new, something unprecedented, and humans are very good at adapting. So what makes this time different than other times? Yeah.
So here, actually, the slide you were showing us, there are two graphics here. One graphic is from the Ray Kurzweil's book about these particular time that we are approaching. And the other one, it's from Leonardo's presentation from this book. Now we're seeing, okay, yeah, oops.
Let's see, let me pull up this slide again.
It's a nice dog, by the way.
Thank you. That's Luna.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Here we go.
Yeah. So in Singularity is Near, which is this book from Ray Kurzweil, he kind of pushed this myth that we think that all evolution and all technology growth, it's in a linear way. So we think that we evolve in a linear way. So changes and improvements and technology advance in a linear way, which means that kind of stable and it goes at the same pace. But actually, what happened is that this growth, this evolution is exponential. So every day, every year that passes by, things grow and improve faster and faster and faster, which on the one hand is great because that means that we will get like greater technological advancements, inventions, life will improve in a great way, and that's amazing. But what happens, on the other hand, is that all these gadgets, all these devices that we are using at the technological level, on the one hand, they are doing our lives much easier. But on the other hand, what happened is that our brains are being used less and less, and especially the creative part of the brain, because all this technology is giving us all the solutions. Okay, maybe 20 years ago, if you wanted to go to a certain place of the city and you didn't know where it was, you had to take a map, and try to find what's the shortest and best way to get there. Even you had to go maybe to the subway map. Now you just have Alexa or Siri, or you don't even have to look at the map. Just say, Siri, how can I get there? And Siri magically tells you how to get there. That's amazing. That's really easy cheesy, but at the same time, your brain is not doing the math. It's not doing the work. So slowly by slowly, we're getting used to this technology, and we are also diminishing our creativity in the brain. So that means that if technology is growing exponentially, but our brains, and this is something that research is showing, that in the Torrance, there is a creativity test called the Torrance test. Every year since 2012, the results are getting worse, which means that we are less creative. Okay, so we will have a problem because we'll have exponential technology, and our brains will go into a kind of lazy mode. So we won't be able to face all the challenges, and the time that we are living now is a great example. We need this creativity. We need this ability to react, to find new solutions for an unknown situation, and we are seeing that it's really difficult, that we are not ready for that.
Wow. So, all right, so let me summarize. We're living in a very rapidly changing and uncertain world. In order to make the most of that world, we need to be creative. Mm-hmm. However, studies have shown that we have become less creative with all of the technology and all of the changes that's happening. So the reason that it's important to have coaches is because coaches help people think creatively and think in that way that is most necessary at a time of such uncertainty and of ambiguity and complexity.
That's it. Actually, that's what I'm trying to prove with my doctoral thesis, and is that when we work in a proper way as coaches, when we especially work in a non-directive way, which means that we not give the client any kind of solution, judgment, or counsel, so we help them to do all the thinking, so then they are really creative, and all these mechanisms they activate. We are doing some work with electroencephalography helmets. Okay, so, and we see how the responses are much better and much more accurate from a creativity point of view than when we approach a problem from a directive perspective, which means that I will give you some hints, or maybe I will suggest you some solutions, or even than when we do it by rumination, which means that, okay, think by yourself and see what you can find, which solutions can you find, okay? So what we're seeing is that actually when we work with the coach, what the coach is doing from this non-directive perspective is helping the client to put into work these creativity mechanisms that we already have in our brains. So then we find out that we have solutions, that I have a problem, but suddenly I see that, well, I know how to solve it by myself. And of course, that it's a training that makes the brain, go faster. And also that in the future, the good thing is that you won't depend on your coach. You will be able to, have this ability to find creative solutions by yourself, which is what I really like about coaching, that it doesn't make people dependable from the coach.
Mm. So it sounds like you're defining creativity in a particular way.
Yeah.
And for those who, may think about creativity, we're not talking about like arts and crafts creativity. Mm-hmm. We're talking about something else. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah. Yeah, actually, that's a good point. Thanks for that, because when I talk about creativity and I'm already thinking about this definition. Okay, yeah, usually when we talk about someone who is creative, we think some musician, some kid that has nice drawings, dancer, painter. No, this is a small part of creativity, but when we go to the, let's say, the research, and we go to the scientific definitions of creativity, we are talking about finding novel and useful solutions for certain problems. Okay. Yeah, I think we have a definition. Yeah. Okay. This is a definition by Bessett and Tidd. It's based from the 2007. They talk about the elaboration and communication of new and significant connections. So here they are talking about wiring the brain. Okay. And that helps us to think of many possibilities, providing different forms of experience and with different points of view. That helps us to think of new and unusual, that's it, possibilities, and to guide us in the generation and selection of alternatives. So when we talk about creativity in this sense, is the ability to find novel and useful solutions, but especially based in an ethical also framework. Okay, because we may have like wonderful ideas, but if they are not ethical, if they are not focused on, you know, helping and not harming, okay, I don't mean like not doing bad, but doing the good thing. So then I think that creativity cannot be said so.
You know, when you define it like this, to me, it kind of sounds like the essence of human potential. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Actually, when we talk about potential, the problem that I have with this word is that it's really abstract. So what's potential is, well, what I can be, what I can reach. But when we talk about creativity, we are already focusing in one thing, that is to create, to make things happen. Okay, so it's like from nothing or from something that is, or something that is really uncertain, I'm able to get to some solution. Okay, potential is a little bit more unclear, and it's a lovely word, but when you talk about, you know, someone about potential, they go like, oh yeah, but what do you mean with potential? Okay, I have a huge potential, I have no, what is it? But actually, yeah, this link that you made between creativity and potential is awesome, because actually that's what we are talking about, this potential about, you know, being able to solve any given situation that we have. You know, all big discoveries, for instance, how we came to be able to transplant one heart from a dead person to another one who needs one. So it comes from creativity. Someone one day thought, okay, maybe we can do that. Okay, so let's try, let's see how can we do it. So nobody came from heaven and, you know, told them that that could be done and how to do it. So all great inventions and all great and the progress, it comes from creativity, from this ability we have to, you know, find new solutions and think about great and beautiful things.
Personally, I'm very curious about how that looks in the brain. You know, I've only studied a tiny fraction of what you've studied, but from what I understand, you know, there's a part of the brain that becomes more active when we think in a certain way, as opposed to less active when we think in a different way. Could you just describe what happens to your brain in a coaching conversation?
Yeah, actually here, my thesis, I'm approaching it from different points of view, because also all the electroencephalography studies that are previously not to coaching but to creativity, there are some divergences between the different areas of the brain that activates and the waves. But what we've been seeing in the results in the wave rhythm of our brains when the client is being coached in a non-directive way, is that is a special activation of the right hemisphere. Okay, so left hemisphere goes a little bit down in activity, and especially there is an activation in the prefrontal cortex and also in the parietal cortex. Okay, and in a rhythm of theta and alpha waves. Okay, so that's what we're seeing, and actually it correlates with some of the research that has been done previously regarding creativity. So actually the thing is that, okay, there is a little bit more activation of the right hemisphere, and especially the prefrontal cortex, this part of the brain, and also the parietal cortex here.
And so for a little bit of context, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the part of the brain that makes us distinct from other animals is that neocortex, that the part, the outside of the brain, the part that's more evolved, the one that is, we were seeing my dog Luna before, and she has a little bit of this cortex, but it's quite small. She doesn't have the creativity and the consciousness that humans do, because we've just developed that, evolutionarily. But it's not necessarily a given that we are using that part of our brain. It's easy to not use that part of our brain, because the core parts of our brain, the lizard brain, the quote unquote lizard brain, gets very easily activated, especially when we're stressed out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and not only that's very true, but the other thing is that we are used to approach solutions from a rational point of view. Okay, which means that we always try to find solutions through the left part of our brain. Okay, and this is the rational part, and creativity does not come from rationality. Okay, creativity is like a Lego. Okay, so of course, new ideas, they don't come out of the blue, out of nothing. What we do is we take all the different information that we have, and then our brain, these mechanisms, what they do is they form different ideas that we had previously, okay? But for that, we cannot do it only through a rational, logical process. We need to put into work other parts of the brain that are placed in this right hemisphere that deal with other functions, that not only the logical part, and then is when new forms, new ideas come out.
Mm. So I want to share the screen again for a second, and so I wanted to ask about how a coach is uniquely qualified to help people activate, our best thinking, creative, solutions-oriented part of our brain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this is something that I wanted also to be able to show with my research, and is that which competencies really spark this creativity, right? Are there any specific competencies from a coach that really are better than others? And actually, if we want to be a good coach, if we want to be an effective coach, because in coaching, client comes first. That's the important thing, okay? The results that the client is going to get, the awareness that the client is going to also to reach in all his process. So that means that as coaches, we have to be duly trained. And for that, it's important that we choose a program that is going to tell us how to best use these core competencies. And for instance, here, the ICF, the International Coaching Federation, is doing a great job, because they are in continuous research about these competencies. So they try to see what's needed, what clients are asking. And so they're always, improving these competencies so we can serve the best to our clients. We can always get best results, okay? So when we talk as a certified coach, so it should have been training in a specific competencies that we use. Actually, now in this updated model, we have 8 competencies that have different behaviors. So there are not only 8, but you have different levels and different ways to put into work this competency. Okay, so actually what we do when we use these competencies in the right way, we create an environment. I like to call it like a laboratory. So a coaching session is a laboratory where with these competencies, the clients are allowed to do anything, to try different things, to, dare to think in different ways and to try ways that maybe they do not dare to do in the outside. So they can experiment, they can try new things, and when they are ready, they can go to the outside world, out of the laboratory, and then put into action all these ideas. So that's the great thing about coaching, that it's like, okay, it's like a continuous experiment, and that's actually what brings this learning and this awareness to the client.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit more specifically about what people would get out of this program that you're offering?
Yeah, sure. So let's say that the coaching professional career uh, from the ICF point of view, is divided in different levels, okay, depending on the experience you have as a coach. Let's say in the hour experience you have, it's like pilots, okay? To be able to fly, you need certain hours, and the more hours you have, the more experience, and the higher you can get into the ladder. So here is the same. So we have an ACC, which is an associate certified coach, that you need 100 hours of experience. And I think it's 60 hours minimum of training, okay? And then you can already work as a professional coach, okay? Then you have next level, which is the PCC level, which is the professional certified coach, and you need for that 500 hours of coaching experience plus 125 hours of training. And then you have the MCC level, which is beyond 2,500 hours of coaching experience plus more than 200 hours of coaching training. Okay, so what we're offering in this training is the knowledge and all the contents and all the competencies you need to get to the first level, to the ACC level. And we're not only giving 60 hours of training, but we're giving 75 hours of coaching training, which goes beyond these minimum hours that the ICF is asking for this ACC level.
Okay.
So we're offering this, and we're also offering one of the most important things, that is the mentoring and the practice, because a coach without practice and without mentorization, it's going to get lost. So we are also having some mentor hours. So students, participants will get the opportunity to bring sessions and to look through the sessions and see, get some feedback about their accomplishments and some things that they can improve. So that's really, really important. And they're also going to have that in this training.
So the program is quite interactive then. It's not just a bunch of videos or, one directional lectures that, you're just going to talk into the camera and,
No. Actually, it's real 75 face-to-face hours. So we will be in a virtual platform, and students will be there, and they will be able to interact, to practice, and especially, it has some theory parts, of course, as it should be, but it's very practical. That means that we're going to put into practice everything that we teach them. So that makes it even more interesting, because they will be getting a constant feedback. And one of the other important things is that in this program, we not only work on the, let's say, on the practical part of coaching, you mean the competencies, but we also work to become a coach, which means that we also do some inner work. We also learn, to improve ourselves, because as coaches, we should be working on ourselves. As for instance, the updated competency model says, there is this coaching mindset, and that means that we also have to be in this continuous improvement as a person and as a professional.
I can say from my own experience doing coaching training that it is a very transformational experience. And so even for those who aren't trying to become full-time coaches, whose career is not going to become all about coaching, it can be a very valuable experience just from the kind of personal experience perspective, from that mindset change, from that internal work, mastering your inner game, as Tim Galloway wrote in his book. Can you tell us a little bit about that sort of internal change that can happen?
Yeah, actually, this is something that we learn from the university trainings, the master levels and the expert levels. And that we always think that everyone who comes to a coaching training, they want to be professional coaches. But actually, many of them, they come because they want to improve themselves. They want to learn better who they are and try to transform themselves, okay? So, and then while they're training, they get the buzz and they say, okay, so maybe I also be a professional coach. But in the first instance, what they do is they just want to change, want to improve themselves. So actually, because coaching is not a philosophy, okay? So coaching is not going to tell you how you should be or what you should do with your life. But actually, when you go into coaching training, it gives you the opportunity to, put yourself on pause Okay, so you pause and you have the opportunity to, okay, so let's see how things are going. Let's reflect a little bit how satisfied I'm with my life and what's working, what's not working. And it gives you this opportunity to, okay, so keep using what's working. And now, if you want, let's change what's not working in your inside. And you're going to work and you're going to change in the direction that you think is the right for you, not that anyone is going to tell you. So actually coaching brings people a lot of responsibility and freedom, okay, which is one of the greatest presents we also have as human beings. Now, the ability to be responsible, which means take action, stop complaining and stop, waiting for, I don't have this and I shouldn't wear it. No, so, okay, so let's see what you can do about that. And then also your freedom, which means that make choices and also be responsible for the choices and the results you get from these actions. So I think that's one of the greatest presence on learning as well from a coaching training perspective.
Yeah, I mean, I can speak from my own personal experience that, when I was going into coaching training, I wasn't convinced, I'm going to become a professional coach and this is going to be my career. I was in journalism, and I went through a lot of changes in examining, how am I thinking, and asking myself those powerful questions that a coach would ask me if I were working one-on-one with a coach. But in the training, you have to ask yourself those questions. And through asking those questions, you realize what is working for me, what do I need to change, how am I going to take responsibility and take action for the things in my life. And so all of the indecision and the kind of insecurities, you confront them directly, but it's in a very non-judgmental environment. And so you don't feel like somebody is saying, you're doing this wrong and you need to change it. It's not accusatory. It's really an opportunity to feel safe and to feel like you can be creative and open and do the things that are going to work best for you.
No, actually it's a real meeting with yourself. It's a meeting with yourself, and as you said, non-judgmental. Nobody will be judging you, and of course, it's also good that you're not judging yourself and you're just looking, and from there try to make the best decision you can make. So actually, it's a wonderful journey, and this is one of the things that I'm really happy about when I think backwards. I'm happy that I made the decision to train as a coach, and also then to made coaching as my profession, because I had the opportunity to meet so many people, so many ways of thinking, to visit so many countries, and also the opportunity to, now that I'm a master certified coach, to train, to mentor, and also this possibility to help people, because coaching is a profession that is grounded on purpose. Okay, you have to be a person who is willing to help without helping, because we do not do things for people, but you always want your clients to succeed and to be happy and to get the results they want to get. So actually it's a wonderful profession.
Right, so it's more about facilitating a learning experience and a helping experience, where you create the space for other people to do what their brain is naturally able to do, without saying, here, A, B, C, go do this, this is my opinion, my judgment.
That's it.
So one more question, and it's kind of the bonus thing, and that's about the pragmatic question of cost. Is there anything special about this program? I already know the answer to that, but as far as the price is concerned.
Yeah, actually, because from faculty from our school, that we are moved by purpose. Okay, so making money is not the big issue here. So now we know that people, they're going through difficult times, especially through from an economical point of view. So we also wanted to help, and we also wanted to give this opportunity to be trained and to be trained in something that in the future can become your profession, but also to do it at a really affordable price. So what we did is we reduced, our price, our regular price, 60%. Okay, so This training was at nearly $4,000, and now the whole training is $1,500, so $1,500. So I think it's a great opportunity to get this, kickstart to begin with this journey as a professional coach, or even if you just want to, improve yourself and also get all the knowledge and all the skills and all the abilities to become more creative and more capable in your life.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I mean, I know that most programs I've seen out there are much more expensive, and a lot of them aren't even ICF approved. You get some training, but they're not necessarily going to set you up for an ICF accreditation, which, as you've said, is research based. It's highly vetted, and this program in particular is associated with a university master's program. So it's so we know it's a real deal. And if I had been looking for a program at this time, this would seem like a pretty great opportunity. And I'm pretty excited about it. I'm also one of the instructors, as well as Albert, who's another one of our instructors. But mostly it's Gorka. You're going to be the primary instructor, and you're also the one who developed the curriculum for the master's program.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, but actually we're a team. So actually I'm happy because the students will be able also to see different points of view, ways of coaching, which is really important. So that will enrich them a lot. And I'm happy because you guys, you already have experience as coaches, as professional coaches. And I think that this is going also to give the participants a really fresh view. And so I'm really glad that you are able to be there.
Yeah, me too. I'm excited. I think it's going to be great. So I think that's the end of our presentation. Gorka, is there anything else that you would want to share?
Well, no, thank you, Danny, because that was really cool. It was really fun. I enjoyed this interview, this conversation that we're having. And yeah, just tell people to join us, because it's going to be really intensive 2 weeks. And this is another good point. I mean, in 2 weeks you will be able to gain all you need to get started, and usually it takes longer. So yeah, just encourage them to join us. And yeah, thank you also for listening, and thank you for hosting this conversation. It was amazing.
Thanks, Gorka. Thanks everyone for watching. Bye.
Bye.